Hello, happy Thursday. I hope your morning is going well. Welcome back to my channel, folks. If it's your first time visiting, thank you so much for stopping by. I value you and appreciate you dropping into my little channel. Please leave a thumbs up below the screen and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to ding my little bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any of my future content. So it's Thursday. It's getting to near the end of the week. Jodie Stevens was here first, and I am so honored to have you here, Jodie Stevens, Gold Star mother, all the way from the US. This woman is someone who I'm sure when she wakes up and gets out of bed in the morning, the devil starts quaking in his boots. She is one of the strongest women you will ever meet. And I would love to have her as a guest here one day, maybe one day. Hi, Keely. How did the Flying Fox go? I hope it went good. Hi, Kane. Hi, Daz. Okay, let's spend some quality time together. Please help me out by letting me know if there's any problems with the stream in the chat. Hi, Lurker. How you going? It's nice to see you all. This should be pretty fun. I had a fun time sort of gathering this information. I was having a gander at Reddit, and I was highly amused by what Australian Redditors thought was un-Australian. It's a term thrown about by politicians, but today let's have a look at what ordinary Australians think is un-Australian behaviour. And I thought, you and I in the chat, we can be the judge of whether it is un-Australian or not. Here's the first one. Is it, okay, Kaz, no worries. Kaz is doing an inspection. We'll catch up with you later. Is it un-Australian to not buy a snag in bread at the sausage sizzle if you go to Bunnings? Now, these are legendary. And I know that our Jay Hayes happens to love a snag in bread every time he goes to Bunnings. I'm not actually a sausage lover, but the good old Bunnings snag has certainly cemented itself as a quintessential part of our Aussie culture. So I don't know what you all think about Bunnings snags if you don't get one when you go to Bunnings. Is that un-Australian? Yeah, I think it might be, but I always get one for the kids. So, okay, here's the next one, very controversial. Charging for chicken salt. You know, we love us some chicken salt on our chips. Is it un-Australian for your local chippy to charge extra for this highly exotic flavouring? I love chicken salt as much as the next Aussie, and I think this should be recognised by all Australian purveyors of our favourite fried tater treats. What do you think about, do you like chicken salt? Do you always get chicken salt or don't you? Daz loves the sausage. I think everybody loves a Bunnings snag, Kaz. I bet you've been guilty of getting the odd snag yourself. Okay, which brings me to the next un-Australian behaviour, as suggested by Redditors, charging for sauce. Is that un-Australian when you grab a dog's eye from the local bakery or when the pie mole rocks up at your work site? Is it un-Australian to have to pay extra for some dead horse? What do you think? Chicken salt is Pepsi. Kaz, that's un-Australian. I think chicken salt should be free. It's not free at our local chippy. I think or maybe it is. I can't remember. But some places you have to pay extra for chicken salt, which it shouldn't be. And sauce, people seem really upset about the sauce thing. You know, they think it should come with the pie. Here's one that might surprise the international viewers, and I hope you can keep up with the lingo if you're from somewhere else. It is definitely considered un-Australian to drink Foster's beer. We don't drink that here. Now, I'm not a beer drinker at all. I might indulge in a shandy on a really hot day, but even I know it's a myth that Aussies crack open a Foster's. So let's see. Keely loves the Bunnings snag. My grown-up boys love it too. Yeah, it's expected you get one. It's like a special treat. It's like part of Bunnings. Yeah, you know who the pie mole is, Kaz. Come on. Oh, you may have to restart it, Lurker. I'm sorry that your chat's frozen. Kane Higgins, it is un-Australian to charge for sauce. No way, but they do it. Here's one that might be more controversial. According to Reddit, it's un-Australian to not get a long weekend for Anzac Day. What say you in the chat about that one? Because I know not every state got a long weekend for Anzac Day. We didn't this year. But I would personally hate for Anzac Day to become a national piss up day like Australia Day. What do you think? Killyboy, your dad drank Foster's occasionally, but he was a Brit. Yes, you see, exactly. I'm half British too, so some of these things are a little bit difficult for me. I'm at war, my British side and my Australian side, yeah. But by and large, who drinks Foster's here? Hardly anyone. I agree that it's un-Australian to not say thank you to the bus driver when you get off at your stop. A simple thanks, mate, will suffice, but it's your duty as an Aussie to thank the bus driver. Now, I don't really catch buses that often, but when I used to, yeah, I always used to say thank you to the bus driver. And while we're discussing courtesy, it is definitely un-Australian, absolutely un-Australian to not flash your lights at other drivers to warn them about speed cameras. And something I've figured watching this list is that basically it seems anything that's not us against the man is un-Australian. So I think we've kind of been mongrels since the inception of our colony. So I think that's how it's always been. Kaz says Foster's is French for Pepsi. The cans look similar to they kind of do. Kaz, I'd love to see you drink a Foster's on your stream. You should do that one day. Another courtesy that is definitely very Australian is to wave thank you to someone who slows down for you to cross at the pedestrian crossing. Now, I walk everywhere where I can go. I always do this. It's also, if you don't give a courtesy wave to someone who lets you into traffic, you are certainly guilty of un-Australian behaviour. That's what we do. Hey, Drunk Aussie, that's so awesome to see you here. You would definitely know about this list, but do you drink Foster's? Kane Higgins says, I drink Great Northern Original and vodka cruisers. Well, that's fine. Kaz says, in Australia, tell people what they can't say. Yes, I think it's un-Australian to do that too. Also, what about not doing the customary two-finger steering wheel wave to other drivers for absolutely no reason when you're traveling on country or isolated roads? That is definitely un-Australian, in my opinion. I don't know why we do that, but it's just something we do. I actually really love these. It's funny. Cass says it's un-Australian to not take the lid off the meat pie first. Well, there's some more meat pie facts coming up. Okay, what about not offering to help a friend move? I think this is as un-Australian as not shouting them a carton for helping you move. I think we're generally a pretty helpful lot with each other. I think we generally do offer to help our friends move, even if we've only got a car. And if you've definitely got a ute, you are definitely the one who should be offering to help people move. Drunk Aussie only drinks Bundy or Captain. I don't know Captain. I'm not a huge drinker. I mostly drink wine. According to Reddit, and I love this one, it's un-Australian to not bullshit tourists. And I really think this is true. It's like an unspoken rule to get creative when confusing and terrifying tourists. Drop bears, kids riding kangaroos to school, etc. It's great. It's like this inside joke almost our entire population partakes in, without ever having to mention it. Kane Higgins says it's un-Australian to give the rude fingered mean driver. I don't know. I think a little bit of, I don't know if that's un-Australian. This is a shocking one. One Redditor suggested they had a mate who not only put, this is shocking, barbecue sauce on their pie, which I think is un-Australian enough, but they used a knife and fork to eat their pie. That is shockingly un-Australian, and I'm fairly certain that that person is probably a psychopath, because who does that? I mean, I make like homemade pies, and I will, we'll have them for dinner. That's totally different thing than just a short bought pie. That's crazy. Who eats them with a knife and fork, let alone puts barbecue sauce on it? That that friend is crazy. Okay, littering, I think, is definitely un-Australian. Keep Australia beautiful, folks. I hate littering. We actually have really beautiful roads, and that I think most Australians hate littering. I will actually, sort out litter if I see it. I hate it. Um, One Redditor suggested tipping is un-Australian, and I guess it is. I'm not opposed to it, but it's certainly not something that you should be expecting if you come here and work here. Don't expect to be tipped, because it's rare and special when it happens. Keely Boyd said, Mr. Pitt and Seinfeld eating his Snickers with a knife and fork. Weirdo. Exactly. It's the same level, isn't it? Kaz says you could do a protective custody eating barbecue sauce on pies. I know, weird, isn't it? Somebody suggest, is it un-Australian when you're passing someone on the street and they say, how's it going, all in one word? Is it un-Australian to tell them how it's actually going rather than just repeat the phrase back? That's a strange thing we do, and I never really even thought about it, we kind of do. Is it un-Australian to wear shoes on the beach? I think it depends on the beach, because like if it's a dog beach, it might be wise in case you step on a barker's egg. But sometimes pluggers are necessary because that sand can get like walking on hot coals. But shoes and socks, yeah, that's a little bit crazy. Kane here, as long get Mr. Buckaroni. Yeah, I want to do some stuff with Mr. Buckaroni for sure. Okay, my last Reddit suggestion of what constitutes un-Australian behaviour is thinking thongs go on your bum. Now, this one, I thought about a bit, and I thought there is an exception to that rule, unless you're an Aussie mum and maybe your little tyke is being a poo head and needs a wrap on the bum with a thong. That's the only time that thongs go on bums. Okay, I'm not suggesting you beat your children with your thongs though, but thongs here are a totally different thing. They don't go on bums. I'll check that out, Kane, for sure. Do you guys have any other suggestions on what maybe constitutes un-Australian behaviour? Kaz says, if you walk across tourists, you don't need shoes on the beach. Even if it's hot, right? You just use them to... But sometimes they're so white, you can't see them against the sand. So, sometimes it's accidental. Do you Kaz is being cheeky. Let's have a Captain Cook at what's happening in the world today. Today's news headlines that stood out to me were that the US birth rate is reportedly so low now that the nation is, and this is to quote, below replacement levels, meaning more people die than are born every day. The CDC has said the birth rate has fallen for the 6th consecutive year to the lowest level since 1979. Total fertility rates and general fertility rates have declined by 4% since 2019, and that is actually only a couple of years ago. So that's really quite a large decline. Experts are furiously analysing the data to determine the reasons behind the rapid decline. So Dylan Lambo, hi Lambo, says not calling a random person mate. Yeah, that's exactly right. We're all mates. Or getting offended by the C word. It doesn't mean what you think here. Of course, if someone calls you a dog C word, that's a bad thing. But if they call you a good C word, that's a compliment. It's strange. And of course, our thoughts and prayers are with Sam Newman after the sudden death of his much loved wife, Amanda Brown. So I hope Sam Newman can do just fine after that, because there must be nothing worse than losing someone that you've, loved and shared your life with. That must be awful. what's that? Keely says it's un-Australian to not get out of the waves when the siren goes off. Yet you know what's that sounds here? It's time to give the tourists a go on the waves. Yeah, exactly. Good one. Today in history, on the 6th of May, way back in 878, the Battle of Edington, where Alfred the Great and his Saxon army defeated the Viking army of Guthrum the Old. So that's like must be the earliest on this day in history that we've done. On May the 6th, 1527, Spanish and German imperial troops sacked Rome, effectively putting an end to the Renaissance. Thanks, guys. You know, that's great. The Renaissance was good. Oh, this is a fun one. On May the 6th, 1837, US blacksmith John Deere created the first steel plow. The name John Deere is still synonymous with quality farming equipment. I had no idea that's how John Deere began. Let's have a look at chat. Good morning, Addy boy. Back to work. Have a great day. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Some people do misuse the term un-Australian. Yes, exactly, Lambo. The use of the C word is the ultimate version of mate. Today, my pick for 3 historical figures I want to spend an evening with would be, keeping with the Australian theme, Ned Kelly, Captain Thunderbolt, and Martin Cash, all legendary Australian bushrangers, because that would be one heck of a wild pub crawl, don't you think? Like, you may end up in the lockup, but it would certainly make for a good Australian evening. Absolutely. I would like to recommend a YouTube channel for you all, and it's called Forgotten Lives. It's got great biographies of lesser known but very interesting historical figures, and the young man who runs it does an excellent job of telling these people's stories in a really respectful way. Okay, if you have any questions for my future guest, Brandon Kett, Canadian veteran, please put them in the comments below. I'm already getting some really great ones. So once the stream's uploaded, pop them in there and I will definitely take them to them. Please click the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, ding my little bell so you don't miss out on any future content. Consider sharing this video just so we can together build this community. You guys are absolutely ace, and you know, yeah, exactly, Dylan Lambo, piss pots, poets and outlaws, exactly, because that's kind of why we're like we are. You know, Australians, we're special. If you're watching this on the rerun, hello there. Thank you. Hopefully one day you'll be able to catch one of my streams. I'd love it if you jumped into chat and said g'day. Don't be shy. I appreciate and value every single one of you, especially those of you in chat right now. Thank you so much. I hope you can all catch me at the same time tomorrow. Love and kisses. Bye. See you later, guys.